Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Kitchen Competence. My name is Nathan.
My name is Katie.
And we are here again to hopefully once again do a surprisingly good job cooking something. Because last episode turned out okay.
Yeah. I mean the editor had the camera tilted.
You know what? I did my best.
And there were
It's probably tilted again this time. I tried to fix it.
Nowhere near enough Star Wipes and T-1000-esque sci-fi CGI alterations. Like I wanted to pool into metal and go over there and then reform to like stir stuff.
Yeah, why didn't you make that happen?
Because as I told you, think more PowerPoint, less Hollywood.
Cannot do that. Our expectations are high.
I'm aware.
So are our 3 viewers.
Hey, we have like 60 some odd viewers already for the first episode.
I just watched it 64 times so that
fair.
Katie would feel good.
We have 4 subscribers.
Yes.
Did you set up 4 accounts?
Speaking of high expectations, Katie has very low expectations this episode. As mentioned last episode, we made fish despite half of the people in this room despising fish. So this episode we're making Brussels sprouts despite, well, I don't know how you stand, Jeremy.
I generally also dislike Brussels.
So we've switched, because last time my wife and I, Raylene and I, were the ones that hated the ingredient we were making, and both actually ended up loving it.
Yep.
So this week, you two get to hate the ingredient. Raylene and I are actually huge Brussels sprouts fans.
Well, and hopefully we'll wind up liking it, because that would be nice too.
I think it's maligned, you know, it's...
Well, I grew up in a house where we had Brussels sprouts with no sauce, no spice, boiled until it was mush. Here's your vegetable for the night.
So I think there's three kinds of people. There's people who have had nothing but boiled, mushy Brussels sprouts with like liver or some other garbage entree, and they hate it.
That sounds nasty.
It is.
It is.
There's people who have literally never had Brussels sprouts, but they've heard of Brussels sprouts, and every time they've heard of Brussels sprouts, it's that Brussels sprouts are the worst thing on the planet,
right.
So they hate Brussels sprouts. And there's people who have had good Brussels sprouts and love Brussels sprouts.
The only time I've had I'm in the second category for the most part, except for the kale salad that we had last time also has Brussels sprouts in it, but I can't tell which pieces are Brussels sprouts, so that doesn't count.
Also, the issue with that is that has kale, and kale's terrible.
Kale's delicious.
So maybe next time we'll do a kale recipe and we'll keep swapping what people hate.
So we're doing Alton Brown's book again, Everyday Cook, and the first recipe we're doing is bacon maple sprouts. So the first step was to cook the bacon, and you put it in. You get 4 strips of thinly sliced bacon, and you put it in the oven for 20 minutes, and you flip it over halfway through, and then you save the bacon grease, which we have here. We went ahead and did that because it's boring to watch. And then what Nathan is doing is he is cutting up the Brussels sprouts themselves longitudinally.
Well, first time, they've got the woody end here. What some people might not have, you may never see them this way. Some of the nicer grocery stores, you'll see them on the stalk. Or if you go to you can show them that woody end on there. Brussels sprouts grow on a stalk. So if you imagine just like a corn stalk sticking up, and it's just got dozens of these little buggers just coming off the side. They don't grow like in any other way, so I can't think of a way to describe that's not that, now that that's all I can see in my head. But firstly, I'm cutting off that woody connective part, and then once that part's gone, we're just cutting it the other direction, because that's going to hold them together into these halves. If you cut it across, it's just going to, the top half's just going to fall apart. The easy way to think of it is that Brussels sprouts are just little cabbages. So just think of it like I had a lettuce or I had a cabbage, where you got that connective end to keep them together. Also, you'll note that the recipe is maple bacon sprouts, and any recipe that's 3 words and 2 of the words are maple and bacon is gonna be good.
Well, maybe.
I have high hopes.
So then what I'm doing is it calls for a large chopped apple. So all I did was cut off the ends so that the apple wouldn't slip when I was coring it. And to core it, I just cut it into quarters and then cut off the little triangle thingy. That's the easiest way.
I'm sure that term.
It is a technical term. I don't know that you guys can use it unless you've been to college. One time I was at a Kmart and I called the thingy that divides people's groceries. You know what I'm talking about? The black thingy that you put between your order.
The bar you put on the...
Yeah.
Okay.
And I called it a thingy, and the lady made fun of me for a while for that. And I was like, she never told me what it was actually called, though.
A separator? A bar?
It's just a divider, or it's a thingy. What does she want from you?
I don't know.
It's a thingy, goddammit.
But in her defense, it was probably like the end of her shift or something, and
in her defense, she worked retail, so she wanted you to die.
so
No,
We all want Katie to die? Oh no.
No, in retail. Never mind.
All retail people want everyone to die.
That's true.
So then I just kind of chopped them. It didn't say how big to chop them.
I mean, that's probably decent size, because they're just going to bake in the oven and release their flavor onto the sprouts. Speaking of which, this bowl's going to be a little crowded.
Do you want me to get a bigger bowl?
Do we have a bigger bowl?
We do have a bigger bowl.
I'm excited by the concept of a bigger bowl.
Well, I have a bigger bowl. I don't know about you.
We
I do. I could go get the bigger bowl from my house, but then we'd have to pause, I think.
We filmed these at Katie and I's house, and so Nathan has to just kind of make do with the cooking implements that we have. So far, we've at least met his expectations.
Don't call your wife an implement.
I don't know that we've exceeded his expectations for cookware, but we've at least met them.
I don't have very high expectations for cookware.
So after it's all cut, you're just going to coat it with the bacon grease. And then 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard and 1 tablespoon of maple syrup.
Let me get all that grease out of that bowl.
Yummy.
And then I'm just going to reuse the pan that we fried the bacon in to begin with, because I don't see why you would clean it if you're going to already add bacon grease, unless there's a reason.
No, I agree. I find that that's going to not only cut down on cooking, but it's going to get all that little extra bit of grease there.
Yeah. Do you need
Do you want
another
to do this
spoon?
while I can measure out the Dijon and whatnot?
Okay. I need to get another spoon. I feel like that would be easier. When you do it, you get 1 spoon. When I do it, I get 2.
It makes sense to me.
So far, I'm seeing a lot of Brussels sprout, not a lot of bacon.
Well, you haven't added any bacon yet, so...
We added the grease.
Yeah, we added the grease.
So there you go. That's all we need. That's all it is. So after,
1 tablespoon.
you guys should also know that I don't like mustard.
What?
Yeah, I'm the mustard eater in the house.
So the other thing is, while this
Best
roasts, you're supposed to crumble the bacon. But we're gonna use that time to make our Mr. Crunchy sandwich, which is our second recipe. And then hopefully have time to do the other thing. Crumble
Crumbling
the
bacon is pretty fast, generally speaking.
All right.
So it just calls for an even coat. And then we're gonna sit it in.
All this stuff out of the way.
Oh, you're supposed to whisk together.
Yeah, all the ingredients that aren't Brussels sprouts, the liquids, were almost definitely supposed to be whisked together.
That's fine.
And then put them on when they're brown. After they're done baking. We're gonna try it this way. I did read the recipe.
Did either of you read the recipe we're making this evening?
I did. I read both of them, in fact.
I read them, and then,
I forgot.
Yes.
So
Happy little accidents. This is the bottom.
and then just roast it.
Well, that's supposed to be a dressing afterwards.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a dressing before. We're gonna let it caramelize on the thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It'll be fine.
It'll be fun. We are having a variation on an Alton Brown recipe. In the classic Alton Brown recipe, you use the dressing. Yeah, absolutely. Use the dressing afterwards. We're gonna bake it on for added flavor enhancement.
Is what we're gonna call it. We'll let you know how it goes.
So about the name of your guys' YouTube channel.
Hey, as long as it comes, we promised that it would be edible.
That's true.
The most we ever
And my legal loophole stands that everything's edible if you try hard enough. So you cannot sue us.
There's always happy accidents for food.
So we'll put the bacon on afterwards, and it'll be
Yeah.
delicious. Also, I dropped a Brussels sprout.
That's all right. One of the dogs will get it.
I don't know. Do dogs eat Brussels sprouts? I don't know if they want to eat Brussels sprouts. All right, so then that goes in for 20 minutes. 20 to 25 minutes. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a Mr. Crunchy, which is actually a whatever.
Mr. Crunchy is the English translation of Croque Monsieur. That's my French accent.
Very nice.
It's basically just a ham sandwich that's like pan fried. So if you think like a what's that other fried sandwich that's escaping from my brain right
Monte
now?
Cristo.
Monte Cristo. You know. So if you ever had a Monte Cristo, I mean, you're taking a ham sandwich and you're frying it. Like
Right.
what can be better?
Well, it could be a turkey sandwich.
Ooh, you can crumble the bacon.
Well, no, we're doing a ham sandwich.
I'm just saying, you asked what could be better than a ham sandwich.
Would be a turkey
It would
sandwich?
be a turkey sandwich.
No. No. I mean, I guess it depends on the ham and the turkey.
I suppose you're allowed to be wrong.
I am allowed to be wrong.
But
Never taken advantage of that before, but I'm allowed to be if I
Wow.
ever feel like it.
Wow.
Anyway, So one of the aspects of the Mr. Crunchy, the Croque
What's
Monsieur,
that?
is the sauce that's used is a bechamel sauce, which is one of the 4 mother sauces of French cooking. And it's the white sauce. If you ever had Alfredo, fettuccine Alfredo or whatever, all those white sauces are based off of bechamel. And so Katie's going to make one of those for us today, which is going to be exciting.
I've never made one before, so we'll see how it goes. But I did read some tips. I don't know where I put the tips though. They're on a piece of paper.
One of the tips you read you were going to ignore because we didn't care.
What was that?
The pepper, the white person black pepper.
Yeah. So it calls for a white ground pepper, but I Googled it, and Google told me that the only difference between white ground pepper and black ground pepper is that black ground pepper has the little shell of the peppercorn plant that's still on it when they grind it, and the other one, they take the shell off first, but the taste is supposed to be very similar, and so I didn't want to pay more for the same thing.
Yeah, I mean if you're a restaurant or if you really want it to be beautiful and pure white sauce, you would want the white pepper, but aesthetics aside, flavor-wise, there's not going to be much of a difference, so,
So I'm getting an Amazon package delivered. He may or may not ring the doorbell.
Oh, I'll go take care of it.
He's supposed to hear between 1:15 and 5:15. It is not those times. So I melted the butter, and then I'm going to whisk in flour and cook for approximately 2 minutes until it turns light brown.
What that is, Katie, with the heating the butter and the flour on the cooktop, I can make you look all smart. Can you tell us what that is that you're making?
A roux!
A roux, R-U-E. Making a roux is just pretty much equal parts butter and flour. It's a little weird on the recipe here because it has the butter in tablespoons but the flour in ounces. But it's basically taking equal parts flour and butter and cooking them on the stovetop until they start to brown. You get kind of a nutty flavor and smell. And that is the base step to a lot of European cooking, French particularly.
I think that looks right.
Yeah, and if you cook it, so a bechamel, you'll stop relatively tan like that. Some sauces you cook that sucker down until it gets downright brown.
So then we're going to whisk in some milk. So you start with 2 tablespoons of butter, and then I use 1 ounce of flour, and then that's 8 ounces of whole milk. And from what I read online, it's a lot like pudding. You just keep stirring until it gets like thick and creamy.
Because that flour is going to act like a thickening agent for that milk.
Yep, and then we need 1 tablespoon of fresh thyme. Would you be willing to get me that?
Is that 1 tablespoon of fresh thyme?
Looks like it.
Okay, because I have bacon on my hands and I don't think you want bacon in your bechamel sauce.
Maybe.
Although, I mean,
You don't know me.
bacon in anything is pretty good.
I mean, it's going on a ham sandwich, so I can't imagine that bacon's gonna like
Ruin it.
And then, so that was a tablespoon, and then we need a half a teaspoon of salt, which I'm gonna say is a dash of salt.
Yeah, that's probably alright.
And then we need,
Half teaspoon of the same amount of the pepper, half teaspoon of pepper, and then just a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg.
and it calls for freshly ground nutmeg, but I don't know what that is. So
It's
we're gonna use pre-ground nutmeg.
nutmeg actually comes in little nuts. They're just little like size of a marble or whatever, and so some people just have those in their home and just grind them fresh. I know Alton Brown famously always has a nutmeg in his pocket, so I'm not surprised that his recipe called for freshly ground nutmeg.
And we do have a mortar and pestle, so we could have bought.
You would not use a mortar and pestle grinder.
No?
These things are hard as a rock. What you actually do with nutmeg is that you have a plane, like it looks like a ruler. It's like a cheese grater,
Okay.
but the holes, the spikes are microscopically small, and you just grind the nutmeg on that.
Interesting.
It's much too hard for mortar and pestle.
I did not know that.
So I'm really excited about the fact that I just bought ground nutmeg based on that description.
Because we don't have the tools to.
Yeah, you don't have the tools. I mean, pretty much any other spice you can buy, whole, and it's always technically better to have whole, fresh spices. You get more flavor, but we'll be realistic here.
They keep their freshness longer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They keep their freshness longer, because they're in whatever nut or seed form they're in, and so it keeps moisture out, it keeps air out. Once you crack them, they start to lose all their freshness. So really, hypothetically, every year or so, you should just throw out your entire spice cabinet and buy fresh. But we aren't all
Rich? Because
rich.
spices are expensive.
I was going to say
right?
Martha Stewart, but same thing. Yeah, we aren't all Martha Stewart, so
So this is thickening quite a bit as opposed to like pudding stays spin
Oh.
longer. So should I bring it off the heat?
Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna wash my hands a bit.
So then it says to set it aside.
Can you carry it over so the camera can actually see what it looks like? I don't want to move the camera. There we go. Nice.
So that's kind of what it looks
Yeah,
like, and you can tell
looks
it's
good.
pretty thick when it
Yeah.
comes off. So then what it says to do is to get a pan and line it with aluminum foil, which I did, and then to spray it with cooking spray or Pam, however you know that. And then we're going to take some sourdough bread. Oh, first, so we can't quite start this until this is done because we need to broil it. And I only have one oven.
Well, we can still assemble it.
We can
I mean, we can do
assemble
steps
it.
1 through 5, and
Yeah.
so we'll finish preparing the sandwich, and then while the Brussels sprouts are still cooking, we can maybe make cocktails.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Good job.
Go me!
So we get 4 slices because there are 4 of us, and then we're just gonna shake the rest down into the bag because that's nice and neat. And then you're gonna spread whole mustard. So it's coarse ground. It called for whole grain, but I googled it and it said whole grain's really hard to find, so you should get coarse ground or stone ground, and it's the same thing. Basically, you should be able to see the mustard seed.
It's kind of mustard I like anyway, so.
It calls for a tablespoon, but I'm just gonna thinly spread it. I've kind of given up measuring for most of this recipe.
I like a teaspoon.
I would
I would
like
go a
more
little
than what you
more.
put on that one for mine, definitely.
Okay, that will be mine then. You want more?
Yeah,
Like
because that
that?
was a teaspoon and I want a tablespoon.
So.
No, it's a tablespoon total.
Oh, okay. So that's
Okay, then that amount probably was right. I apologize.
because that'll be a little bit less than a teaspoon per sandwich.
No. Never mind, you were fine.
Somebody gets a big hole in there. It's probably not the best piece. But we've already started. Not
That's
back-
Jeremy's.
That's Jeremy's. Jeremy, you're gonna be messy.
Well, then get him a little mustard up top, because at least his consolation prize will be a little extra mustard up there.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah, I like it that way.
It's
It's a mustard boy.
nasty.
Mustard's the best condiment. You should learn to love it.
It's okay on steak sandwiches when there's a lot of other stuff and you can't taste the mustard.
What? What I like about mustard, number one, I like the flavor of it, but it is extremely healthful. Like the flavor to calorie ratio is absurd
Yeah.
in mustard.
I can believe that. I tried to get the ham. Not get the ham, but like get it out of the fridge. I got the ham.
That would have been bad. That would have been a little bit of a disaster.
We could have paused,
We could have.
sent you to go get some ham or some turkey since you apparently like it so much better.
I did Google you, not Google you, G-chat you
About the ham, yeah.
about the ham.
I
But you
don't
didn't,
mind the ham, I just love
you didn't
turkey.
respond soon enough. So I'm gonna just put 2 because it's supposed to be even on each person, and then I'll go back around.
Sounds good. I don't have much to do, so I'm just standing here looking pretty, watching you put ham on some bread.
Yeah, you are.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't love to watch somebody spread ham on bread? That's
While
a
you're doing that,
question.
I will. Huh? What?
So that's a question.
Was it rhetorical?
Nope.
Oh. You know what the best thing about rhetorical questions is?
No.
That was a rhetorical question, actually.
Oh. Here you go.
Thank you, I'm helpful.
And then you're gonna cover with you can cover with cheese.
The bechamel sauce.
I know, but you can do cheese next. And then you're gonna do
What kind of cheese
herbs.
do we have here?
It's Gruyere. So this meal is a little bit more expensive than the last meal because Gruyere cheese is very expensive as it turns out. It was like $20 a pound. You don't need a pound, you need 8 ounces. Oh, there's also 8 ounces of ham. We're getting it. We're telling people what to do. I'm gonna get a spoon.
Ham and cheese sandwich, baby.
But it's a really good cheese. I've already taste tested it and it's delicious.
Well, I think we're going to have enough left over to enjoy. This has got to be way more than 8 ounces of Gruyere.
It said 8 ounces on the package.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that's a lot of Gruyere for 8 ounces, I would agree.
Maybe that's why it was so expensive. Because I just assumed it was. Well, I didn't assume. I thought I saw it said 8 ounces and it was $10. I was like, man, that's expensive cheese. This pot's heavy. I bought a good pot so I can make caramel. Guess how many times we made caramel out of using it?
0?
That's correct.
So far.
So far.
0 so far. There we go. Looking good.
And to be fair, it's still nice to have a good pot.
I'm just gonna put, since we got so much damn cheese, I assume that this is gonna be very cheese heavy. I mean, we're making ham and cheese sandwiches here, and this cheese is going to melt under the broiler. So we want a nice heavy layer.
And then herbs de Provence. I don't actually know what this is. I had to buy it.
It's a spice blend.
Let me smell it and tell you about it. I feel like this part's going really well. That part maybe, maybe not as well. You know what? It looks fine in there.
It'll be okay. We accidentally put some ingredients in early. It'll be fine. Man, I'm using up all this cheese. I lied. And I don't feel like these are sarcastically overly cheesy.
No, I think it'll be good.
Oh, that smells good.
That part was bad, so I'll just take it.
Okay. Yeah, herbs de Provence has a really nice smell to it.
This is the problem with circular shit. I mean, stuff.
Here's smaller. Is that a teaspoon that you're using?
It's a half tablespoon.
Oh, okay.
It calls for 2 tablespoons. 2 teaspoons, whatever.
A teaspoon, so it'd be a half teaspoon per sandwich.
So you might have over herbs de Provence that first one a little bit.
No, I think that's a good spread. Well, maybe a little bit. That'll be Jeremy's.
You're eating all of
I like how they're slowly all becoming mine. By the time we're done, all 4 sandwiches will be mine, and I'm okay.
It's not too bad because that's a half tablespoon, and you probably did less than half of that scoop, and there's, 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. So if you used a third of the scoop, that was about a half a teaspoon, which is what it would be at the 2 teaspoons. So it's fine. It's the short answer. It's fine.
All right, and then that's it. So the only thing we're waiting for here is we're gonna broil it, and we gotta wait for our Brussels sprouts, and so we're gonna make a drink. What are we making?
Whiskey
Nathan?
sours.
This is not an Alton Brown recipe. This is an internet recipe.
This is actually, even though I just made fun of her for being rich and better than us,
Martha Stewart.
this is actually a Martha Stewart recipe because when I had orange juice in the fridge and it had like a few days left in its lifespan, and I'm like, let's find out a good way I can use up orange juice. And the best way you can use up any liquid is by adding alcohol to it. And so I Googled cocktails that used orange juice, and I found a recipe for whiskey sours that instead of using sour mix actually used juice.
Here's a shot glass. I don't know if you need that or not.
I don't. I'm going to need like a cup, like a liquid cup. Measuring glass.
Yeah.
Because since we're making 4, this will be convenient. So the way that this guy goes, you can be hoity-toity. The first part of the recipe is all like tornado sugar for the rim of the sugar glass and a lemon wedge to garnish. Yeah, turbinado sugar is the sugar. If you ever get like a drink, so margaritas they usually put salt on the rim, but sometimes you get sweet ones that have sugar on the rim. That's the type of sugar. It's more like a pure cane sugar, and so the texture of it and the sweetness of it makes it more correct to put on the rim of a drink. We're going to skip that because we're not highfalutin hoity-toity and we don't have turbinado sugar, so we're just going to drink our cocktails straight from the glass the way God intended. We're also going to skip the lemon wedge because
We didn't buy one of those.
we didn't buy.
So.
We had lemons last time.
Yeah.
So this calls first for a quarter cup each of orange juice and bourbon. Apparently she has a deal because she said Maker's Mark, but I'm not getting paid by Maker's Mark, so I don't have that brand. There's 4 of us, so we'll just do 1 cup of each of those ingredients.
I think the glasses are going to be too small for the amount of liquid we're making.
I know. Well, I was thinking that they would be.
I knew they wouldn't.
Well, I was thinking like a normal one has like 3 or 4 ounces in it, and so I was like, this will be perfect, and I have 4 of them. But
Well, we'll just pour drinks out of the shaker and then.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Do we
just
get
put
a?
the
do we-
ice in the shaker? I think that'll be the best thing to do.
I'm gonna do that away from the microphone.
Sounds good. So
Do we each want an ice cube in our drink or no? We probably won't need it.
probably won't need it. So, ooh, hello. You shouldn't do this because now if I screw up the measurement, it makes everything complicated. But boom, eyes like a sniper and hands like a pianist.
So I don't get the joke.
I don't get the joke either, but apparently it's funny. I think the joke is that pianist sounds like penis, and they found that
It
humorous.
was mostly just a funny way to say anything. Rayling's with me on this one.
I just laugh at him all the time.
You might have added too much ice. I'm sure there are other ingredients that you added.
No, I don't think that's the ice's problem. I think that they don't assume you're making 2 cups worth of drink.
Oops. Yeah, well, I don't have to add that much more, actually, because I do, a little. Lastly, so we had a quarter cup each of the bourbon and the orange juice, and then 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, which there's...
So 12 tablespoons.
12 tablespoons, yes. Do you know what that is?
I do not.
Okay, good for you.
Is it 3/4 cup?
It is,
Hold on.
Boom.
because it's 6 ounces and there's 2 tablespoons to an ounce. But this is giving me an issue, because this definitely won't fit in that shaker.
How do you know if these are done?
Has it been 20 minutes?
No.
Then they're probably not done. They should brown up, caramelize, get a little tender.
I would say you're going to need to strain some of those ice cubes out.
I would say I'm going to need to strain some of those ice cubes out.
There's gonna be Brussels sprouts here. I'm just.
Okay, you're
looking.
going to need to hand like a spoon or
Do we have
something.
a fork or a spoon so I can do this?
We don't own those. What about ice cream scoop? I feel like that's perfect.
Why are you? Oh my god.
That is good because it scoops it out. Like this.
You have a slotted spoon.
Oh, do you want a slotted spoon?
No, the ice cream scoops do it just fine, Katie. Thank you.
We literally have the tool for this job.
You didn't say a slotted spoon. You said either a spoon or a fork, and I thought a fork sounds silly, and so I went with a bigger spoon.
I do like that I asked for a fork and you said we don't have those.
Well, that was a joke.
This whole episode's a joke.
Life is a joke.
This episode's fantastic. I don't know what you're talking about.
We are fantastic. I'm worried about this fitting.
I think it'll be fine because it's fine. What's the
Okay.
worst that can happen? The book's over there.
We're making too big of drinks. I should have just made like a double batch and we could
What happens
shake
if you
it
don't
up.
shake it? What happens if I give you a bowl and we just stir it?
That's what I was going to ask. It says, let's just whisk this Mama Jama in a bowl.
That won't fit.
How are you going to pour this into glasses from?
Don't you judge us.
Don't-
We will use the ice cream scoop, which is
have a
the...
pitcher. We own a pitcher.
Yeah, it's downstairs though. Oh, ye of little faith.
I like that we are making...
Do you want more ice?
Well,
Or you
I
can put 1 ice cube in each.
have one last ingredient, which is there's a teaspoon of sugar per, so we need 4
Oh.
teaspoons of sugar, which...
I felt like we needed sugar, but I couldn't remember what it was for. And now I know.
4 teaspoons of sugar, and this is a half teaspoon, so I'll do
Do you
8 of
want-
these guys.
A full teaspoon? Okay.
That's effort. I already have this in my hand.
I feel like that's still effort.
You might be right. So that's 2, and 3.
So how are we gonna get it into the cup?
And-
Do you want my ladle? I have a ladle. I have
So
an even
this is like
bigger
a punch bowl. This is like punch now,
spoon. I have a bigger spoon.
but still no forks because we don't have those.
You do not.
It's going to make eating dinner interesting.
Do we have a whisk?
Yeah, nom nom nom. Well, we have that one and this one.
I'm just doing this. Oh yeah, you do have a whisk. Awesome.
It's not a fork.
What?
So it's not a fork.
Everything about watching you guys make this drink hurts my soul.
It's fine. It's just it's a big drink because usually you don't use a 1/4 cup of something.
Don't judge me.
That's usually better.
The best part is we brought the smallest glasses we own up. Like, those are almost shot glasses, and we're making a punch bowl.
They're like
of
double
drink.
and a halves. 2.5.
Those Brussels sprouts done?
The Brussels sprouts are done.
Perfect. So you can take them out and put them on the burner or whatever to cool down and have the. Oh yeah, put those guys right up there. That looks. Oh, those are looking sexy, Katie. Look at those things.
Yeah, we did an amazing job. Just a second. I have to move this now up to the top rack. And we're gonna put it. And we're back!
We are.
We ate food, and the only downside to us doing the Brussels sprouts out of order is we had to remake the sauce of 2 tablespoons mustard, 1 tablespoon syrup, and then re-drizzle it because it like bakes off.
And so before we did that, we were eating and we were like, yeah, these are okay. They're a little dry, they're a little bland. And then we did the dressing and put the dressing on afterwards, and much, much better.
Right.
Actually, really good.
So if you do the recipe as it's written, it's better. But it was still edible the way we did it.
Jeremy will put a really fancy, impossible to miss disclaimer at that point of the recipe with like fireworks and stuff that says, don't put this stuff in yet. Wait till the end. It's a dressing, not a baking ingredient.
I do enjoy my little side comments on you guys.
There'll actually be like animated characters that like cartwheel in from the sides, and they're like, "Hey, everybody! Here's a tip."
Also, you can talk about this in the past tense because it already happened. For the
Do you know
Tippy the Terrapin, and I'm here to tell you.
Shut up! We need to pick a rodent. Let's do a vole.
A vole?
Tippy threw up a vole earlier today.
Oh, I forgot. That's where Tippy came from. You have a cat named Tippy.
Yeah.
Was the vole okay?
No.
No, it's super dead. Why would I put a bowl in a video about food?
Because it has a mouse voice, and Warner Brothers has a rodent, Bugs Bunny, and Disney has a rodent, a Mickey Mouse.
I don't think bunnies are a rodent.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're a lagomorph.
What's a lagomorph?
Bunnies.
Which is a rodent. There you go.
Anyway, so so that was one caveat was don't mess up like we did. Do things correctly.
Yep.
But you can fix it if you do it incorrectly.
It's fixable, right? You know, mistakes are fixable. Thing two, as Katie discovered, and I didn't mention this at the time, that whiskey sour recipe is not weak.
It's very strong.
Yeah.
I will not remember this.
We did the little like barely shot glass. Like I usually like I do like one of these of that, and then I go to bed for the night.
How do you sleep through the whole night without like nightmares?
Because
unconscious.
I'm unconscious to the world. Yes.
Oh, when I drink a lot, I get nightmares. Like terrible, like very scary nightmares.
No, I don't have nightmares. I just stay awake and contemplate death. So that's why the alcohol.
But what happens when you die is
Anyway, so those whiskey sours are strong, but they're delicious, and so
They work
just
like that.
be warned that that's not a
and the
drink
ham-
and then operate heavy machinery kind of thing.
the ham sandwich was delicious. Although I felt like the cheese overpowered the sauce a little bit, but I was in the minority.
Well, no. You weren't in the minority about that being true. Like, we all agreed that the cheese was the predominant flavor of the sandwich. Like,
Yes.
of all the things you tasted the Gruyere the most.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I was of the stance that was on purpose.
I would just prefer like a truffled cheese, if that was the case. But it's soft and Gruyere is really hard, so I don't know if that would change like how it bakes.
I think if you do any open-faced ham and cheese sandwich where you put it under a broiler, broiler.
Yep, that's it.
Broiler.
Got
If
it.
you do any open-faced ham and cheese sandwich where you put it under a broiler, you're gonna be fine.
Okay.
Like the cheese is gonna melt, it's gonna caramelize, it's gonna be danged delicious.
Yeah. So anyway, that's our show.
Bye.